Hello, my fellow nerds. If you are new to my podcast, hello. How are you? Thank you for being here. I wish I could give you a hug. Today is Monday. I like to release podcasts Monday, Wednesday, Friday morning, but things have been happening to where it's kind of put a damper on things. I don't have an intro, so I'm just going to tell you, this is the Nerd in Texas podcast. I talk about movies, TV shows, books, video games, and anything you might consider nerdy. Here's an update on my Bell's palsy. Everything is pretty much the same, but I guess you could say I'm in better spirits. I have found ways around it. I have found ways to deal with it. I now have these weird, Band-Aid patches on my eye, so it makes things a little easier. But because of my Bell's palsy, my episodes will be a little shorter than usual. Well, I'm going to try and make it a little shorter than usual, but there's a lot to cover in this episode, so we'll see what happens. I'm also going to have to take pauses because it's hard to talk. In case you don't know what Bell's palsy is, the right side of my face is paralyzed. So the only way I can explain it is it's like the right side of my mouth. I went to the dentist and they just completely numbed that side of my mouth. So it's really hard to say certain things. Doing pauses in a podcast is like a huge podcast no-no, but I'm going to try and do as much as I can. I'm going to be taking breaks and kind of doing things in sections. So that way it kind of helps me out a little bit better. And you guys don't have to listen to dead silence or dead pauses for a little while. Alright, so let's dive into this episode about Zack Snyders Justice League. So Zack Snyders Justice League starts where Batman vs. Superman ended. It shows the whole fight scene and how Superman died in Batman vs. Superman. And as Superman is dying, he's just screaming and hollering and sends these shockwaves. And it shows that Cyborg can hear it. It shows Aquaman's kingdom underwater can hear it. And the mother boxes just start going crazy because Superman is dead. The one from Themyscira, which I totally probably pronounced that wrong, or the Island of the Amazons, aka Wonder Woman's Island, it cracks. It cracks in the water. Or in the water. It cracks in the little dome thing that they have. It shows Batman showing up to a village off of what I assume is Norway. I just noticed the Viking compass hanging from the entrance. And then the people are speaking Norwegian. So I picked up on a few words because I started to try and learn Norwegian. It was kind of like a mission that I wanted to do this year. And I kind of fell off of it. Because I want to go to Norway one day. And I actually want to learn, the Norwegian language. It made me wonder how the Vikings would feel about Aquaman. I mean, I don't know if we can dismiss the Viking existence with Aquaman. I know we have Greek mythology with DC, and sorry, I didn't mean to do that. And Marvel has the Viking mythology, but it would be kind of cool to consider that Vikings existed in the DC universe, and Aquaman kind of maybe helped them out, obviously, because it's kind of what happens in Zack Snyders Justice League. One thing I kind of did notice that kind of threw me off a little bit is in one of Wonder Woman's scenes where she's fighting the bad guys that are taking over this place and trying to blow it up with kids in it, is that Wonder Woman kind of got a little gory and she got a little reckless. I know she was under a time crunch when it came to this because she's trying to beat the clock, beat the bomb, but she's usually the smart, controlled one. in the beginning, there's a scene where she uses her strength and throws a man against, like, this brick wall. And then it kind of comes back to that room, and you see, like, blood on the walls. I assume that was, like, his brains on the wall. And then he's, like, on the ground dead, and you just see all this blood underneath the man's head. And I know it's meant to be an adult version, because they dropped the F-bomb a bunch of times, which I'm not like, oh my gosh, they said the F word. I'm just saying, I know it's meant to be an adult version, but it's just kind of not Wonder Woman's style. So the one thing that bothers people about DC movies, and where DC movies fail, is it shows the backstory to everyone in every movie. Like, with Batman movies, every movie, there's like a whole thing about where Batman's parents died and how they died and how it turned Batman into Batman. We already know. And it's like, it doesn't matter how many Batman movies they do the backstory. If you don't know Batman and the Batman backstory yet, then, like, you can figure it out yourself, or you can Google it yourself, or whatever. But where Zack Snyders goes is they don't do that this time. They just jump right into the action. And it's just like, you know, no backstory, no talking about Batman's parents and how they died. It's just like straight to the action, and that's why this movie, that's why it's become such a good movie. They don't waste their time on backstory. It does kind of jump back and forth from character to character and about who they are, where they're from. I mean, not necessarily where they're from, but how they were. It just goes back and forth from to each character, from Aquaman to Flash to Cyborg, back to Aquaman to Flash, whatever. But they do it in a way that it makes sense, and in a sequence that makes sense for the movie, and it just makes a better story and makes a better movie. One of the things that I noticed that was a little inconsistent and kind of bothered me, which is Princess Mira's hair in Justice League. I know this is like something so stupid to be like, what? But it's just things that I noticed. Princess Mira, who is like the princess down in Aquaman's kingdom, her hair is brown and not red. And in the Aquaman movie, her hair was like box color red, like just flaming red. Amber Heard plays Princess Mira, and I'm sure you guys have heard all about Amber Heard and the Johnny Depp scandal. But the one thing I can say is her acting was a little better in this movie. I noticed she tries to have a British accent in the movie. Like, she has a British accent 1 second, and then 1 minute she doesn't. And I don't know, that kind of bothered me too. It's like, so are you going to have a British accent or no? Because, like, if you are, you might as well commit to it, you know? But maybe if you guys watch it and catch up on it, let me know if I'm just, like, over-exaggerating or if I'm pretty good. If you notice in the movie, though, Princess Mira actually is pretty darn close to taking down Steppenwolf by herself. She, like, does this whole thing where she's got she just does this whole thing where she is pretty darn close to taking him down himself. And I wish you could see more of a badass angle from Princess Mira in her fighting style and stuff like that, as opposed to just, I'm Amber Heard, look at me, look pretty, look at me being Princess Mira. What her future shows for Amber Heard and the whole Johnny Depp thing and being Princess Mira for Aquaman is kind of sketchy at this point, because I know a lot of people in cancel culture are like, ooh, cancel her too, because everyone canceled Johnny Depp and whatever. But I mean, it's just something that we'll have to see, and we'll see what they decide. Another thing that I love, and who knew, Jeremy Irons, who played the bad guy Simon Gruber in Die Hard 3, one of my favorites. I love Die Hard. Yes, I consider it a Christmas movie, and I watch it on Christmas. Just because I'm not a huge fan of Christmas movies. But he's one of my faves, and who knew he would play such an awesome Alfred? Like, I want him in, like, every Batman movie now as Alfred. And, of course, the huge question remains, the Ben Affleck version of Batman, of course, is actually a pretty awesome Batman. Like, he actually does a really good job. I like him as Batman. I like Ben Affleck as Batman, and I wish they did him more justice. I feel like he could have been something, could have had a lot of potential and been really awesome if Ben Affleck kept it going. But again, I mean, I don't know. I've heard how Ben Affleck was like, nope, I don't want to be Batman anymore. Because of how bad the Justice League movie came out, like the original Justice League movie, how bad it turned out. You know, just one of the things that we'll have to see. I wonder if Christian Bale watched Zack Snyders Justice League, and was like, dang it, I should have stayed Batman, because it was, I don't know, it's just really cool, really good to see, and I dig it. I really dig it. Now, how I feel about Steppenwolf. He's a pretty scary dude. Some people compared him to Thanos. I'm sorry, but no, he's nowhere near Thanos. I'm just not digging that. I'm just not digging that comparison. Thanos, of course, like, out-bads this bad guy, like, totally. One thing I did notice was a scene where it shows him, like, walking away, and he has this, like, chain link. I can't even explain it, but it's like a metal link loincloth, I guess you could say. And the loincloth goes, like, in between his butt cheeks. like, I don't know, it's just weird. It's like his butt cheeks were shaped to, like, I don't know. It was just weird to me. Why don't you just, like, cover the whole thing? I don't know. It was just weird to me. So one of the things that I love about the Wonder Woman solo movie is that Patty Jenkins put an emphasis on this movie, and like the original concept of the solo movie and the costume was that she wanted to make a point about Wonder Woman's costume. Like, she wanted her to be sexy, but didn't want her to be like showing her butt cheeks type of sexy. Like the bottom of, you know what I'm saying? Like the showing the bottom of her butt cheeks or showing her, you know, titties hanging out. Stuff like that. And if you watch the original Justice League movie, they strayed away from that. Like, they even have a slow-mo scene where it's like showing her butt. It's showing Wonder Woman's butt. And if you go back and watch the Wonder Woman, the first movie, you don't see any of that. You just see action. You see women. You see empowered women. And they are all fighting and doing all that stuff. Like, they used women who compete in the Olympics to be extras in Amazon, like as Amazonian women in that movie. And if you look at a lot of them, they're really pretty sexy, and they really got their cool armor and warrior outfits on, but they're not too revealing. And that's what I loved that they got back to, because there's not one time where you see Wonder Woman's butt cheeks in this movie. The one thing I can say, though, is I like the original Cyborg in the original Justice League movie. In the original Justice League movie, like, he wanted out of his apartment. He wanted, like, to be out in the world. And, of course, his dad was like, oh, no, sorry, not yet. And he kind of goes against his dad's wishes and reaches out to the Justice League. But in this one, he's kind of, like, dark and sad and wants to find a way out, and almost to the point where he wants to commit suicide. And any chance there is for him to, like, sacrifice himself to save the day, he takes it. And yeah, that's kind of what superheroes do, but he takes it as a way to, like, get out of being Cyborg. And I kind of didn't like that, because Cyborg actually loves to be Cyborg. Another cool thing about this movie is that there is a scene with J'onn J'onzz, and if you follow Justice League and you follow DC and stuff like that, J'onn J'onzz is a Martian hunter. I forget what he calls himself. He's like a something hunter. He even says it in the movie at the end, and I forget what he says. But he is one of my favorites. I love him in Supergirl on the CW. I hope he's in more of DC movies, because he really is my favorite. Another thing that kind of throws me off with this movie is that there's way too many, like, slow motion action scenes. I get it when the Flash or Superman is going so fast that time slows down and they can do all these things. But even with basic action scenes, it's like all slow motion. Everything with this movie is pretty much like the original Justice League movie. It's just the way Zack Snyder wanted it. And, of course, Superman comes back. He's angry, confused. He takes Lois Lane and they leave. She helps him figure out who he is. In the original movie, though, when he comes back to the Justice League, it doesn't make sense. He just shows up at the end of the battle scene, and it's like, what? How did you even know they were there? And I love that they placed the scene where Superman goes to Alfred, and I was actually really bummed that they took it out of the original Justice League movie. And I hate it when they have a scene in a trailer, but they take it out of the movie. It's like, why have it in the trailer then? So to have the scene where Superman goes to Alfred in this Justice League version was just, like, totally awesome, totally great. I totally loved it. And it made more sense when Superman showed up and started fighting along with with Batman and all of them, as opposed to, like, surprise, I'm here, I magically knew you were here. Now, when Superman does come back, he decides to wear the Superman, like, black suit. I call it the dark suit. It's the dark suit of Superman, and I love it, and I'm for it, and I love the man. I love a man in a dark suit. You know it, and he just looks awesome. I dig it. Now, for the Flash. I love the Flash. He is, like, my number 2 favorite DC superhero. Bailey loves the Flash. Like, he is just a staple in my household. And I want a solo Flash movie so bad. You know, I love the Flash CW show, and seeing Ezra Miller's The Flash on the CW show as a Flash from a different Earth was so awesome and so cool. But I want an Ezra Miller Flash movie. I love him to death, and he plays an amazing Flash. And I did some research. So here's some research I found on a standalone Flash movie. If you are reading my podcast notes on my website, because I'm now posting my podcast notes on my website for you to check out, for you to read, I will leave a link to the IMDb page I found, because y'all know I love IMDb. With that said, according to IMDb, the standalone Flash movie will be released November 2022, with Andy Muschietti, I'm not sure if I said that right, as the director, and of course we have Ezra Miller as the Flash, and it shows Ben Affleck as Batman. And of course, when I said earlier, I thought Ben Affleck gave up on being the Batman, but who knows. It also shows Michael Keaton as a Batman, so 2 Batmans, especially Michael Keaton, like, yes, I am for it, let's do this is gonna rock, it's gonna be awesome. having two Batmans can mean one thing, but I don't want to give it away, just because I have a feeling of how this is going to go down, but I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to give it away. Once we get closer to The Flash coming out, maybe I'll do a podcast about it, and how I feel it's going to go down, and we'll just see what happens. It also shows Sasha Calle, I don't know, I'm probably saying her name wrong. It's Calle as Supergirl. So there's obviously going to be Supergirl in this standalone Flash movie as well. Now, for Aquaman. It shows Aquaman and he has his scenes, but it doesn't really show Aquaman. I don't know if that makes any sense, but it just left me wanting more of Aquaman. To me, he just had a bunch of one-liners and not a whole lot of dialogue. Like, he had like a tiny bit. Like, just not a whole lot. And some people said he was funny. I didn't really see a scene where I thought it was like really funny, but I don't know. Like I said, it just left me wanting more of Aquaman. Now, I can't have a podcast and talk about this movie and not talk about a few things. First, Deathstroke. He was in a mid-scene of the original Justice League movie, but in this one, he is in the movie, not in the movie. It's more towards the end. It's kind of like they took end scenes and put it all together. And he's played by Joe Manganiello. I know I say that wrong. I say it wrong. And I am so sorry. And on IMDb, it shows that he will now be in a Deathstroke movie. It says announced. So Deathstroke will be getting a standalone movie. I love it. I love Deathstroke. I love bad guys, of course, which he's kind of like a bad guy. I don't know. We'll have to see. And on IMDb, it shows him as Deathstroke as Justice League Part 2. But it says announced as well. So, hopefully we're getting a Justice League Part 2. Or just another Justice League movie. Whatever you want to call it. Now, for Jared Leto's The Joker. I don't think he gets enough credit for his role as the Joker. A lot of people hated the way he portrayed the Joker. But what a lot of people don't know is that what he was portraying was the Batman's animated series version of the Joker. And not the comic book series version of the Joker. So the Suicide Squad was pretty much based off of the animated series, Batman animated series of the Joker. There's a whole lot of things I could go into about Harley Quinn and how I feel like no one truly understands Harley Quinn. Like, you get in a nerd group and all they do is talk about, like, Harley Quinn is this, Harley Quinn is that. But a lot of people don't know is that Harley Quinn was not even in the comic books. She was started in the Batman animated series. So maybe I'll have a whole podcast about Harley Quinn. I don't know. We'll see. I'll see if I get any, like, oh yes, I want to know more about her. Or we'll see what kind of feedback I get. I know these things because I grew up watching Batman, the animated series. Like, some of y'all don't know that the voice of the Joker in the series is Mark Hamill himself. Luke Skywalker himself. So not only do I love Mark Hamill as Luke Skywalker, but I love him as the Joker as well. And so, the animated, I have 2 older brothers. And if you do the math, and when you are the youngest and the only girl, she never gets to watch My Little Pony, okay? The 2 older brothers always took the controller and was like, we're not watching this girly stuff. And so I was left with watching Batman the Animated Series, or Transformers, or whatever was on. And me being a movie lover, me being I love TV shows, I love watching TV, I love movies, I soaked that all in. And a lot of people don't understand that. Like, my brothers to this day they don't understand. But this is where the love began. This is where I soaked it all up. And this is where I now have a podcast about it. So, last but not least, the post-apocalyptic scene. Wait, is it post? The apocalyptic scene with evil Superman. Batman tells Barry Allen that he thought he had a dream of the Flash coming to him and telling him that Lois was the key. So, in the Justice League movie, you're thinking that Lois is the key, as in getting Superman back to realizing who he is. In the apocalypse scene, we learn that Lois dies, and she dies in Batman's arms. Princess Mira is there with them, and she says she wants to kill him for what he did to Arthur. We also discover that Harley Quinn is dead. So they have two ways of going with this, and how evil Superman becomes evil. We have one way where he gets in contact with the synthetic kryptonite, and it splits Superman into two. One being the human side of Superman, and the one being the evil with no moral Superman. Then we have the other way, and that's the way I think they're going with this, is Darkseid is not done with you yet. And that is what's said in this Justice League movie. And in the comic, Kal-El is defeated by Darkseid. And after Kal-El is killed in an invasion of Earth by Darkseid, a new Kryptonian who resembles Superman emerges as Superman, Val-Zod, a pacifist who reconsiders his beliefs in order to defeat an evil clone of Kal-El. So we just have these different possibilities that could happen in this apocalyptic scene. We see Jared Leto as the Joker, and he's kind of it's a apocalypse. He's let his freak flag fly, but they were having to come together. Batman is with them, Deathstroke is with them, Mira is with them, the Joker is with him, and then we see Cyborg. He's hiding, and they're hiding from evil Superman, and it's just, I'm not gonna I kind of gave it away and kind of already done spoilers, so I'm gonna have to go back and say that there are spoilers in this. But it was a great movie. I loved it. And it's the way the movie should have been. It's the way DC should be. I don't understand why DC has to make every movie dark and brooding. I understand Batman is dark and brooding, but Superman isn't. And they've gone and made Superman dark and brooding sometimes. With Wonder Woman, they have finally they finally let individual superheroes be their individual selves. And I think that's where Marvel excels and DC kind of fails. Is that they kind of ooh, they like this, so we'll make this all of them. I hope they don't do that to the Flash. I really don't think they will, because if the Flash is actually a really funny guy, he's just constantly going. Obviously, he's the Flash, but he just has the funniest personality, and you see it in the Justice League, Zack Snyders Justice League as well. And I really hope they do him justice, and I am looking forward to the Flash standalone movie. So, if you liked my podcast and you would like to leave a tip in my virtual tip jar, you can go to my Ko-fi page. I will have my Willow link in the description, and I will have my Ko-fi page link in the description. Like I said, I will have my podcast notes on my website now as a blog, so if you want to check that out, you're more than welcome to. And I hope you guys have the great rest of the week. This is actually easier for me, and it was a little bit longer for me, but breaking it down and stopping and taking breaks helped me a lot. I don't want to stop doing my podcast because of this Bell's palsy, and I don't want it to stop. I worked way too hard, and I put so much energy and time and love into these podcasts. And for you guys, I just want to say thank you for reaching out to me. Thank you for asking me if I'm okay. Thank you for asking me if I need anything. You guys are just, like, amazing. No, I don't need anything, but talk to me. I love it when you guys talk to me. I have a Discord. You can check that out in my Willow link. Just thank you. I appreciate and love every single one of you. Peace, love, and all things nerdy.